on this set. They had a kind of a rough week in the rounds of 8, not making it onto the shows. And now that they finally are here and have a chance for a gold, I think you'll see their best.
Well, talking of here, we are here at the Fitness and Wellbeing Hub at Expo 2020 Dubai. This is where all the action is happening tonight and has been for the last 4 days. You are looking at Team Malaysia getting psyched up. We have around about 70,000 people in Expo 2020 tonight. This venue is buzzing. Now, as I mentioned to you, if you're not familiar with what Expo 2020 is all about, it is a cultural event, it's a fun event, it's live action, it's sports, it's superstars. The size of 660 US soccer fields, it is absolutely huge. And now we're going to concentrate on the world's best bowlers, and in this case, the women. Tom, USA up on the lane first.
Danielle McEwen, major champion. One of the most focused players you'll ever see. That's called splitting the 8-9 right there. The 8-9 pins, the ball, watch the ball go right through the 2 back pins in the middle of the deck on the back row. Watch how this ball splits them.
Yep.
That's called a perfect strike.
That is the perfect strike. Well, there you go. I'm learning more things as we go along. And the man who's been involved in professional bowling all over the world is the man to call it with me tonight. Team Malaysia, of course, up for their shot. The Malaysian Tigers. There we go. Oh.
Now, a little high.
Just a little high. We've got, there you go, that's a great shot. Just as I was about to say, top left of your screen, there's the Malaysian team supporters in their tiger outfits. And we had a tiger being held up earlier on. It was probably all of about 2 inches long and 2 inches high. Not the biggest tiger. Next time we'll work on the tiger size, methinks. But, but we're looking at, of course, Team USA. Now, that lady there with that little cell phone, she won the T-shirt earlier on, of course, for her support for Team USA. And, of course, to spare for Malaysia as we get up to fever pitch in these World Championships final. Tom, we're in the finals now. We're starting the last day of the event. What's it been like for you over these last, well, not just 4 days here in the finals in Expo 2020, but since you started on the 6th of November at the Dubai Bowling Centre?
It's just an incredible festival of this game, and with so much riding on it for all these players and these countries and nations, and everything riding on it, not just for them, but for the sport itself. I mean, people that love bowling, love this event, want it to succeed, so this bowling so that bowling can reach new heights. And I think what we've seen is so many unusual for the sport pictures and highlights and videos and moments that will live forever. And it's because of this unique setting and really just how they've all come together for a new type of format in this event. We've seen just so much excitement. But I'll tell you right now, the one event they all want to win the most is this one, the team event.
Team Malaysia.
I knew that was coming.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Now, Tom, you just mentioned there that everybody wants to win this event. What is special for all of our new viewers, and we are attracting thousands of new viewers to the sport of bowling. Tell us why this is so special.
Well, you know, these players in most competition that they're in, it's individual competition. But in this, they're representing their country above all else, and this is the ultimate team competition because every player on the team works together to complete these scores and works together to win this gold medal. So winning together and being the ultimate nation that wins the gold medal in both the women's and the men's has always been the number one goal. It's putting team before self.
And that is a great sentiment, and that's what it's about. And of course, with the mixed teams that we've got coming up later on in their finals, all about equality, all about involving everybody at all grassroots levels, and everybody is welcome to the IBF World Championships. And of course, Tour Commissioner of the PBA, Tom Clark, great words there. Of course, America getting the Team USA getting that spare there. So this venue here, very, very special indeed. This is the Sports Fitness and Wellness Hub. Now in the very centre of the screen there is a bicycle hub rack. You can see that there. This is part and parcel of Expo 2020 Dubai. You can take bike trips around the park. It's so big, it's so huge. This is going to be here for 6 months. It is a purpose-built venue that will be repurposed as a city after Expo 2020 finishes. This is going to be a brand new city, an eco and smart city. There'll be no cars and vehicles allowed generally around the hub itself. It'll all be done sustainably, all about mobility. There's a new metro system that's been built here, designed around sports, fitness, well-being, and of course a brighter future. And this is the perfect home not only for Expo 2020 but the new world format of IBF bowling. It couldn't be in better hands, Tom, could it really?
You just said it. You said it great. I have really enjoyed touring the grounds here for this. I keep calling it the World's Fair because when I was growing up, it was the World's Fair.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I've toured, so many different countries that have incredible displays here, and it's an incredible experience. So I'm really happy to be here. Big strike and
I'm going to give you a little tip, Tom. I don't know if you've been to one yet. We'll get back into the main bowling. If you get a chance to go to the Saudi Arabia Pavilion, it is the major tour effect for me, hosting a TV show about this wonderful venue. It's one of them. Have you been there yet?
No, I walked by it, but I didn't go in.
It is an immersive, all-encompassing performance and a spectacle, much like what we're seeing here with the bowling, but it is something to go and behold.
Check it out.
Yeah, have a look. And of course, talking about being immersive,
I liked Italy because they have the best food.
Do you know, that's the thing? That is the thing here. Food, sustenance, refreshments, shall we say, of all sorts are available here in Dubai. I was talking to Matt Canizara earlier on, there is a hub here for food. We could sit here now, and how smart this city will be. We can order our favourite food, and it will be delivered by an electric scooter.
Is that right?
Via a Google pin to anywhere on this site that you'd like. I've told you on day 4 now. It's a bit too late, I'm sure. I should have told you on day 1.
I saw something today in a mall here in Dubai that I've never seen before called a robot cafe.
Yeah, I have. I took my son to an ice cream robot cafe where they mix the ice cream flavours together and they bring it to your table. It's crazy, isn't it?
Here's Danielle's second time around. She comes up light, 2-8. So traditionally, this team event has been a 5-player team. Now we're at 4, and the rhythm of who bowls what frames is different in that case. Normally in a 5-player Baker match, each player bowls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they repeat 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we have the leadoff bowler bowling 1 and now 5.
So, this, if I'm not mistaken, you'll be there. This is Kelly Hewlett coming in.
Nope. Oh, that was Danielle McEwen, and she just missed that.
Yes.
That changes the complexion of this match because now they have 97 in the 5th, and Malaysia, with a strike, will take the lead.
Oh, that look of not despair, but just
she wants to make that spare. That's a spare she counts on making, and she needs to get over it though, because she's gonna be an important player in the rest of this match.
Malaysia coming in.
We couldn't capitalize. So what we have right now is if the Malaysian converts this 6-10 spare, we'll have a tie match.
Wow. And you are the king of tied matches, kind of.
Last night was exciting.
Last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever witnessed that. There's the Team Malaysia supporters. There's the Tigers. They are. Oh, there we go, Team Malaysia. Yes, we love you, and we love, of course.
I see Rafiq Ismail up there. Rafiq came over in both PBA events. He's an exciting player.
Really?
Oh yeah, left-handed fireball. We call him the Rocket.
There's been, from the, it's not the Far East, but the Middle East and Far East, there's been some exciting, some exciting bowlers coming through onto the scenes. And this format, this championships, and again, I'm not kind of over it, it's a great way that we can experience and see and witness bowlers that we don't really get to see.
Kelly Hewlett, the only woman to win a major championship on the PBA tour.
tonight here on the lanes.
Kelly's getting her first crack at these lanes here tonight. I know she was here early to get as early a chance on them as she could. It was still, the sun was shining bright when they had their first practice session today, and now it's for all the marbles.
She makes it. Great spare there. Okay. Yeah, you're right. When they were warming up today, the sun was out. It was really hot. It was sunglasses weather, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was very warm here in Dubai. We've talked a lot about this, Tom, about the lanes and the conditions. I hadn't witnessed the guys playing on the lanes in the not full heat of the sun, but pretty strong heat of the sun. How with perspiration and how hard is it to kind of egg yourself into these lanes when the conditions are like that? Is there any downside to that, or is it just something else you've got to overcome?
It's another thing to overcome. I think the number one concern that they have is the approach.
Okay.
And the approach when there's high humidity, even when you're in a bowling center, it becomes stickier. And a player's ability to slide comfortably is so key to their form and their delivery that's their number one concern. What I've seen is I feel like everybody is comfortable out there at this point. So that's not a concern. So from that point on, there really isn't anything different. It's different, but the way that these players focus, if their slide's okay, they're going to be all right.
Well, they seem to, from the early stages, it was kind of everybody getting to look at it, everything a bit different, but now everybody's kind of bedded into this format. They're used to it. It's become their home over the last 4 days, and probably sad to see it go after tonight's bowling action.
Ooh, that is going to be a big shot.
Just wide of the...
2-4-10 and 114 in the sixth for the U.S. That's Missy Parkin, who is another one that's crossed over into competing against the men. She was the first woman to actually join the PBA when the PBA opened its membership to women. She was the first one. When she competed in college, she was on her college team's men's team.
Really?
And she was the best bowler on that team.
I bet the guys love that, didn't they?
Oh, they wanted her. Everybody wanted her on their team. She is one of the great players in the history of the game. But that frame is opened the door for Malaysia, and if Malaysia can fill in the seventh frame, they're going to take the lead.
Now, just to remind you, unlike the semi-finals, this is a race to two. So, of course, the USA will have a chance to come back if it is deemed that they will be going one down.
Great point. That was buried, and they're taking the lead.
That was it.
Malaysia takes the lead in the seventh frame, so now we're down to the final three.
And we have a lead change. Malaysia leads by 14.
And that's what you just heard on our commentary speakers there. Malaysia leading by 14, I believe, was the call in the hub here. And of course, that sees them go ahead. But of course, it's not all lost. Team USA, here we go.
Ball got wide. For a minute there, I thought
it
was on purpose. Yeah, I actually thought maybe she moved out for a reason, but I was surprised. But I think she just missed and missed right, and so it missed the head.
We've seen a couple of these in the last 3 or 4 shots that these either haven't gripped or they've missed shots that you kind of suppose would normally expect them to.
Yeah, some of those balls were coming back earlier.
Yeah, they were. They were really biting hard and coming back. Maybe because the lanes have been re-oiled just a moment ago, so that
many times over the last few days.
Yeah.
With every re-oil, and that's a huge miss too. So with every re-oil, the lane is not just oiled by the machine, the lane is cleaned by the machine. When you continually clean a lane, continually oil it and then clean it again, it's really impossible to have the exact same condition game after game after game. That's a professional strike right there, because when your opponent goes down with 2 misses like that in a row and you're on a strike and you can double like Malaysia just did, that's like a hammer on a down. That's like putting your foot down on somebody who's wounded. And so Malaysia just took commanding lead in this game. Right now, I think what you're seeing is the U.S. just trying to line up
for the next game.
Yeah.
They're getting it. It seems to be. I think it definitely is. It's the bite has gone out of the lane. The Tigers of course Malaysia are forming a formidable force in this game. But as we saw it last night in a lot of the games, in the US game as well, you know, US down, they came back and they won. It's not all over, and of course it's just a case of refocusing now. It's kind of centering your thoughts, keeping your concentration.
It's really a beautiful format for a fan, because the fan knows, all right, Malaysia's up 1-0, but this next game will decide whether or not we're going to go to an exciting 9th and 10th frame roll-off if the USA can win. Malaysia's got to prove it one more time, win the second game to just end this thing. But it gives the fans the feeling that there's so much urgency on the next game, knowing that Malaysia can win it and the USA must win to force a roll-off.
Now, just giving you a heads up, of course, lots more to come here tonight. There's the World Championships. The IBF World Championships comes to its crescendo, the final stages of the World Championships. And we're going to be seeing the men's final coming up after this match. Singapore taking on Korea. And then after that, we have Sweden versus Team USA. And the mixed team event, of course, bringing the curtain down on what has been an amazing event in Dubai and keeps giving to the bowlers and, of course, the viewing public around the world the opportunity to see bowling in a whole new form.
I tend to look ahead and assume that these great players are going to fill frames. But if Malaysia misses this spare, it's not over. This game is not completely over. She makes this spare. It likely is. She had bad footing.
Yeah, she
missed
slipped.
them all. And so what we have is 162. We got 170 from Malaysia in the 9th. If the USA strikes out in the 10th, they can shoot 181 and force Malaysia to mark in the 10th frame. So this game is not over.
Well, there you go, Tom Clark giving his expert view on what we're about to see here. Can it grip again? It did. This time it did grip, Tom. This time it held and came in with a great strike there. It ain't over, as they say. PBA Tour Commissioner Tom Clark alongside me in commentary tonight in these finals. And we've had a whole host of great co-commentators through these last 4 days. And of course, Tom is no exception. Knows the US team inside out. And as he was telling me the other day, actually, that, living in Switzerland these days, you can't be too biased about all the players that you see. But we're looking at Team
Big
USA.
strike. Oh! And now the best she can do, the best the USA can do after that shot is 171. And that means Malaysia needs 2 pins in the 10th frame to win the game. So it's over unless Malaysia has really, really bad footing.
Probably the worst footing we've ever seen in the history of bowling.
I've been in and out and not been able to watch every single match, but I think this might be one of the lowest scoring matches I've seen. How about you?
Yes, I mean, going back to all the games we've seen, it's kind of definitely lacking in the amount of strikes. Myself and Matt Cannizzaro earlier on, we were commentating on a game that was lacking and devoid of strikes, but then literally powered up in the second half. But this one, again,
170 is a low score. That last shot, Danielle was practicing for the next game, looking at her strike line. She wasn't trying to make that spare. And that's 170 for the USA, which is exactly what Malaysia has now. So they just need to show up on this shot and win the first game, and then force a do or die for the USA in game 2.
In the history of pro bowling, Tom, has anybody ever missed with 2 balls, gone down the gutter?
Yeah,
I got it twice.
One
Has it
comes
ever
to
happened?
mind, and the only reason I can laugh is because it's a good friend of mine who's one of the greatest bowlers of all time, Marshall Holman.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened.
And he did it, yeah?
Yeah. He was playing far outside.
That's when you kind of look for somewhere to bury your head, yeah?
There's been a few gutter balls in the history of the PBA, and including in a 10th frame situation where a player needed 6 and really all they needed to do was hit the pins and win a title.
Yeah.
And threw it into the gutter, and lost, and so, you know,
You shouldn't laugh, but
well, I mean, one of the great things about bowling is that anything can happen. I mean, it's just true. You know, anything can happen at any time, and it makes it thrilling to watch for any fan. That's why it's fun to bowl. Anything can happen each shot you throw. You can get a bad break, a good break. And Malaysia's gonna work on this fill ball as well to continue to dial in this lane, because while the USA shot 170 that game, not like they would call it zero. Yeah, I think they're telling us that Malaysia took a little bit too much extra time before that shot, and the tournament director Kirk Van Kruger gave her a warning. Okay, to continue to do that.
okay, well there you go. That's the hot off the press news from the IBF World Championships, and of course adjudicated by and followed up on it, and of course we've got screens all over the place, and of course making sure that everything is fair and above board for all teams and all players. At the home of Expo 2020 Dubai, it's the new home for the IBF World Championships, and of course the teams are looking, of course, to proceed through to the next game. So at the moment,
Yeah, and you've got two of the great teams in the history of bowling. You know, Malaysia has won this team event in 2017. That's the last time they've won it. And the USA women last won this event in Abu Dhabi in 2015.
So just getting confirmation of that score. Malaysia are 1 up. And of course, if they see this game through, they're in. And of course, they are in the position of being the new world championship. But will the USA, Team USA, come back? Malaysia starting well.
Malaysia out to a quick start. USA knows their backs are against the wall. Got to win this game to force a roll-off. The class of this USA team is so strong that one thing, they will not be too nervous. Let's put it that way. They've been here before.
I was just about to say that. With the experience that you've got in the team, there's probably not much that they haven't experienced.
Correct. The only thing that will make them nervous is a bad ball reaction.
Yep.
And right now, it appears they have bad ball reaction, and that means the ball just isn't singing through those pins. It's not driving through. Remember the first shot we saw?
You said was the perfect
Danielle
strike.
McEwen,
Yeah.
she threw a perfect shot, and ever since then, well, they actually had the first two, and then ever since then, something has gone amiss, and they're just not hitting the pocket with the same drive. 10 pins, coming up light.
Back on the board with the spare made. Yes, there we go.
Covers.
That's a good consolation for Team USA.
And USA changed the lineup and went with Kelly Kulik first instead of Danielle. And that's a strategy move by the U.S. Remember what Korea did last night in Game 2.
Yep.
Changed their lineup dramatically, and it worked for them to force a roll-off. Ooh, big split by Malaysia. That's an opening. That's almost impossible spare to convert. So the U.S. sees that as a chance to take the lead.
So they've already obviously realised that is obviously what's happened on the lane on their left-hand side. So then I suppose, as always, you're going for a strike on every ball you bowl, but the US team now, there's somebody's left the door open a little bit for them here.
Absolutely. You always want to fill the frame. If you don't fill a frame in a short one-game match like this with this level of competition, you're just putting yourself in danger. And as soon as she left this wide-open split for Malaysia, she gave the USA hope that they can take the lead in the second frame. Early lead. Any mark here will give the U.S. at least a 10-pin lead. And it's still early in the game, but you'd rather bowl from the front. and struck. Remember Jordan missed right, and that time she said, "I'm not missing right. If anything, I'm going to miss left." But she kept, but it stayed on line, and she tripped that 4-9, and she'll take it. Trust me. There you go.
There she goes. She's happy with that. So tell us a little bit about the US team, Tom. I mean, how long have they been established in the format that they are now in the team together, the girls we're looking at? They've been together for a while.
Well, they have a great another split from Malaysia. They've been together for this year. They had a great training earlier this year in Arlington, which is where the International Training Center is. The USBC has a great campus in Texas in the United States, and they bring all the Team USA players together. They get together, get to know each other even better. But these women come to as opponents. They know each other as teammates. They've grown up knowing about each other because they're all so skilled and at the top of the game. So they have so much familiarity with each other's games. Then they have great coaching with Brian O'Keefe, and they have Kendra Gaines here with them. And those coaches know their games completely. And the same exact, from the outside, that's kind of a lucky way to make that spare. She meant to split them most likely, but she made that spare from the outside, which is kind of luck. But Malaysia has a great team Malaysia concept as well, and they get together and practice frequently and have incredible coaching. Malaysia is one of the top bowling nations in the world.
Back to Team USA as they, was it Ganu again?
Missy tried to trip the 4-9 as well, and she didn't get the same break.
So the action continues way into the night here in Dubai. There it is. That is the view of the Sports, Fitness and Wellness Hub here at Expo 2020. We're going to stay with the action all the way through to the end. Coming up next, the men's final. That will see Singapore take on Korea, and Korea were a powerhouse in their semi-final. But here's Team USA coming to fight back, get back this game they need to draw level for a playoff in the decider for this World Championships, of course, the women's team event.
USA by 12. That was the 2-8, and we've seen a lot of 2-8s crumble on both the men's and women's side over all of these championship rounds. That one tried to, but the 8-pin was not going down. I like that. You know, I always try to teach kids, actually, do not turn your back on those pins. You can stare them down, you know.
Oh yeah, that works, does it?
You know what? As funny as it sounds, I actually believe it does. You have to stay focused on those pins and don't turn around. Pay attention, watch the pin action no matter what, and if the longer you stare, the better chance you have of knocking them down.
Psyching the pins out. Is that's your format.
The pins are the true enemy in this game. Danielle, so smooth, and buries another one. Up by 13. Danielle's another player that actually has competed on the PBA tour and very well. She's one of the few women who actually was on a PBA league team. And Kelly's another one that was, and Liz Johnson. Only 3 in the history of the PBA league have had women on the men's teams.
So as we can currently see the scores, Malaysia are 1 up. Team USA are up in this game. But, Tom, what happens after that? So if USA pull it back, it's 1-1, and then we go to what?
A 9th and 10th frame roll-off.
Okay.
If you were watching last night and saw USA-Korea in the men's trios, you saw as exciting as bowling can get.
Yeah,
I think both of us ended up with goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, we
and
did.
it was around midnight. So
it was.
The last time I had goosebumps around midnight, I don't want to get into that.
I think that was a good decision not to get into that one. Right, Malaysia, quickly moving on with a spare, Tom. But it is listen, I have to say that we're laughing, we're enjoying it, we've had a great time. But genuinely, everybody involved in the championships has been having fun, haven't they? It's what it's all about. Professional sport is professional. From our team of camera crews and directors and producers and everybody else, and even not even the players, but as the players themselves, it's all been one big family, isn't it, really?
When you love a game, and everyone involved with this event loves bowling, you immediately share that with everyone around you in that culture or in that community. And so everyone in this event immediately starts with the understanding. We all love bowling, and bowling's like a language. And so we all understand everything, the ups, the downs, what makes it difficult, what makes it exhilarating. And so you immediately have a connection and a bond, and that's what makes this international event so awesome.
So America making the spare
up
team
by
USA
14. They're up by 14.
Up by 14, and that's what they needed to do. This is what they needed to do. But of course, Malaysia have still got an opportunity to take this game. But America, as I say, they're up and they're in control.
Oh, misses the head pin right. That's 6. That's a washout. It's a bad count. It's a difficult spare, and it could be the turning point of this match. It's a bad miss right.
It certainly is. Certainly is. 6 pins down with the 4 left up. So this is in bowling terms, Tom. How hard a shot is this?
This washout, I'd probably put it at around. I'd probably put it at around 40%, 50%. You gotta slide. You have to hit the head pin on the left side. No, she hit it too flush, and she wasn't able to throw it over. So now they only have 91 in the 6th, and USA can strike for 100 in the 5th and have a hammer on it. This is the spot where you want somebody up that can smell blood in the water, and they want to strike, and they'll take a commanding lead. Remember, Jordan came up a little bit high on her last shot. Oh. She went way high on that shot. She's lucky to get 7. And now...
You could see that happening, can't you, as the ball came down the lane?
She doesn't look comfortable right now. Jordan looks like she missed right, and players don't want to miss right, especially one with... Jordan has some of the greatest power in the history of women's bowling. Her hand release and her revolutions that she puts on the bowling ball is extreme power in the women's game. And so missing right could possibly have scared her into trying to pull the ball so she wouldn't do that again. Big cover, big cover.
Well done, Team USA, and it keeps the game alive as we're looking at it now with both teams.
So 17. They're up by 26 right now, and have a commanding lead. But these lanes look so touchy that nothing is safe.
No, I know. It's fun. Although these lanes haven't moved and nothing's changed in the way they've been treated, they seem to play differently on different evenings that we've experienced it over the last 4 days.
Yeah, just continual, again, the cleaning and re-oiling of one pair of lanes this many times over a number of days is going to alter how the lanes play from the first time they were oiled.
So we could be on the edge of a very...
Missy answers it back.
He's getting excited, Tom, next to me now. As the Team USA nail another strike. Great shot there. Look at that. She's happy. She's happy indeed.
Missy has one of the great smiles in this sport. Malaysia trying to double, misses the head pin again. I don't know. I tend to predict a little too early in these games, but I think we're going to a 9th and 10th frame roll-up.
Listen, I've been calling it. I've called it badly on a couple of occasions. Being a novice, I get away with it.
Sure.
But I think you're right. I'm going with you, Tom. I think this could be a roll-off. I think we could be seeing another exciting. Now, what happens with the roll-off? How do you choose lanes? How does that work?
They'll stay in the same lane.
Okay.
But the choice that's interesting is who will throw the 9th and the 10th frame.
Okay.
And that comes down to the coach for each team. deciding who's got the best look and can give us the best chance to strike.
Well, that was going to be a question I was going to ask you earlier on, but we got waylaid with what was happening on the lanes. Is that how important is a coach to a team in these events?
Well, the lineup is really the most critical part of this Baker format, which means it was devised by someone named Baker. That's why it's called Baker. And what it means is you're a group of players combining your shots to create one game score. Danielle's going to end this thing because we're going to a roll-off. And so the coach is deciding who's going to bowl the first frame, who's going to bowl the second frame. And you're constantly looking for chances to double. So you're saying, who's the player with the best look, and how can we follow that with someone with a good look to be able to combine strikes in a string, which is the key to scoring high in bowling. You're really trying to, if you identify the one player in your lineup that has the worst look, you're kind of trying to hide them in the lineup somewhere so that it doesn't impact what could be a strong string of strikes. But if the USA strikes here, this match is going to be over. The best Malaysia can do is 191. The USA will have 147 in the seventh.
Now, as we've seen in other games, Tom, and other matches where there are balls remaining to bowl, if the US continue on this and it's an unassailable lead, do the Malaysian team carry on with their extra bowls until we get to the 9th and 10th?
Yes, and they'll use that time to gain knowledge. That's the big one.
There you go.
So 147 in the seventh. At the least, they have 175, 190, 2-0. So at the least, USA is going to go 2-0, and Malaysia, the best they can do is 191. So we're getting ready to get. Where's my seatbelt? We need a seatbelt.
Strap this man in. We've got excitement here. He's about to launch. And mind you, if Jeff Bezos was here, he'd be taking you up on a rocket somewhere, Tom.
And I'll tell you again. And of course, I'm the commissioner of the PBA, and we kind of, introduced this race to two format to wide audiences in the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting because you split these games and you come to a 9th and 10th. And the players might say it's too exciting. It's a little too much pressure and too fast.
I don't think if you asked A.J. Johnson last night about if he found it too exciting.
When you win, you love it.
Oh, my God. This man has been walking around with a medal in his pocket. He was, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, he was going to be joining us in the commentary booth tonight, but the US ladies team asked him for good luck to be behind them as they bowl. So AJ will be up and around the ladies. They wanted him to be there as a good luck token from last night.
Yeah, both teams have great support and great men's teams as well, and they can lend a lot of advice. They know about the equipment selections that could be made. They know how these lanes play, and they can help the women line up. And believe me, everybody wants to share knowledge when you're part of a team, and every little bit you can pick up can just help just enough so you can carry those 10. So Malaysia now, it was their turn to shoot 171, like USA shot 170 in that first game. The USA looks pretty lined up right now. I mean, they're going to throw a big game here and be the favorites now heading into that 9th and 10th. I think Kelly is the player that I'm going to expect to throw the 10th frame.
That's the one you're going to call, is it?
I would put, if I was the coach of USA and I had Kelly Kulik on my team, I'd put her anchor. I'd put her anchor. I'd put her in that spot to make that big shot to win a gold medal. And it looks like they put her in that spot in this game to shoot, to make all the most important shots in this game. That was the strategy by Team USA's coaching. So they're going to shoot with this spare. They're gonna bowl 216 this game with a strike by Kelly here, and we're gonna strap in.
We are getting ready for the final stages of the first of the finals on the last night of the IBF World Championships in Dubai 2021. Of course, the women's final is at a knife's edge. Malaysia, USA. Malaysia went up 1. USA have done everything and they are back. And we will be seeing the roll-off, which which will be coming up in a couple of moments' time. But of course, just finish off the last few seconds, getting the eye dialed in.
2:15 for the U.S. Now the big reveal will be what's the lineup.
It's anybody's guess.
I don't think anybody
have
on.
a roll-off,
So this is the
stand
coach,
by for the 9
Brian
10
O'Keefe.
frame.
His wife, by the
Let's
way,
give it up
Shannon
one more
O'Keefe,
time
is
for
one of
the
the great bowlers
teams.
in USA and women's bowling history. She's won many gold medals for Team USA.
That was what I was going to ask you, actually, Tom. You know, obviously bowlers are on the road all the time. Do bowlers marry bowlers?
They do.
They do.
They do.
You'd have to, really, wouldn't you?
There's a lot of relationships within the game of people that, and there's some classic greats of the game that. On both the men and women's side that marry, and their kids have a lot of pressure.
I bet they do.
Because if they're not the best ever,
It also, on the other side of it, if anything happens in a relationship, it could be quite awkward when you're on the tour and your ex-wife or husband is there bowling on another lane. That could be quite fun.
Absolutely. I've seen some of that, but we're not going to talk about that either.
We're all positive. We're all positive here in Dubai. This is what it's all about. So,
Okay, we got
Tom,
USA, Malaysia.
set the scene, because this is where it's going to count. We are about to find out who are going to be the world champions.
You know.
And of course, it's all about that particular moment. We are just waiting to see the calls and what's about to happen, and we'll let you know as soon as we do.
Kelly's going first. Oh, and she buried it. So she went in the 9th frame, which is not what I said. I thought she'd go 10th frame. And she goes 9th frame. They have to switch, right?
She looks happy
Yeah.
with that one, Tom.
She's
very
thrown a lot
much
of big shots in her life, but believe me, that's one of the biggest. Because this is for a gold medal.
So,
This young lady from Malaysia has been, I think, the strongest player for their team.
pressure on.
these
She's
two
got to
games.
make her part.
She winds on it, mixes them up, and can't shake the 10. USA
That
takes the lead.
Being a pin that doesn't want to go down tonight, that particular one.
The 10 pin is the pin that bowlers hate the most, and now you have to immediately get over the fact you didn't carry that pin, and now you've got to make it. And the great professional bowlers are over 90% on the spare, but nobody wants to have to make the 10 pin in the most critical time. So if she makes the spare, it just shows you the focus that she has. Easily.
Easy, straight flush into the middle of the 10 pin.
She shows you right there that she doesn't let nerves bother her at all. She's so practiced and so professional that put something up there that I have to do, I can do it. Now, Danielle is going to throw the 10th. And Danielle McEwen, remember, to start the competition, was the leadoff player. She comes up high, luckily does not leave the 4-10, instead only the 4 pin, but that means no matter what she does, if she spares and strikes in her fill ball, she will have 40. And Malaysia will be able to get up in the 10th and win the gold medal, no matter what Danielle McEwen does here. She needs to convert this and then fill it for 40.
Well, we are on the edge of our seats again. You called it, Tom. Let's have a look.
If she strikes for 40, then Malaysia must strike on their first shot in the 10th frame to have a chance to either win or tie. When they tie, they go to another 9th and 10th frame roll-off.
Oh my goodness me. Okay, so Danielle needs to strike to make all of that happen that we just talked about. Let's see what's happening. Let's start off for that equation. So there's AJ. I talked to you about
big fill ball. This is a big fill ball. Yeah, AJ back there.
He's back behind the girls.
10. 40 for the U.S. Now Malaysia, if they get 9 on this ball, the most that they can, at 9 on their first ball, the most that they can shoot is 39. So they must strike on this first ball.
So if this is not a strike,
U.S.
the U.S. are the champions.
Keep your eye on them.
Right, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. If Malaysia do not strike this ball, the USA will be the world champions. Team
are they?
USA are the world champions, the women's team champions, and there you have it. Tom Clark, the PBA Tour Commissioner, right next to me, called it, and there you have the gold medal winners and the brand new IBF World Champions of 2021 Team USA. And Tom, there's a big smile on your face. You're
Well,
going to have
I
to
don't-
stay here for every US game, you know that.
I feel bad about that a little bit, but every time I'm here, the U.S. wins a gold medal. But I'll tell you, those women, I know them all personally. They're very nice people as well as great competitors. And I know that they had a trying week this week.
Yeah.
Things did not go their way every single day. It was hard to get onto the shows, let alone
Ladies and
win
gentlemen, let's give a round of applause
medals.
for our
And they
second
had a
place
lot of
Malaysia.
letdowns. And so to see them in the ultimate event for them in Dubai here for this World Championship,
And the big
to win the team
congratulations for
gold,
Team USA
you
for
have to
winning
feel
the
good for them.
gold
Malaysia last won this thing just a few years ago. They'll be back. They seem to just reload with great players. And so, these rivalries that we've seen the last two nights, U.S.-Korea, U.S.-Malaysia, that's what defines international bowling. That's what defines the IBF. And I'm really happy just to be here for it
I
and to
can
share it with
see
you.
Listen, guys, if you can see the smile on this man's face, the Tour Commissioner, the PBA Tour Commissioner, Tom